So then what do you do? Because it's not just a matter of sitting over a beer and being sympathetic with somebody. When this is a cultural, I don't know if this is a culture. I think if culture means life lived in common, we don't, I think, have a culture in the United States of America, apart from a Super Bowl and a hangover or something. But if this, if there is a societal conversation going on about these issues, people want to have their say, whether they should or not. And so we are. What else do you do? I mean, you write a blog, you do a video, we do this. We
do, but the reason we can do this, and people try it in other ways, is because we love each other. We will the good for each other, right? We respect it. There's a reverence here that says, I don't know where this is going to go, but if you say something, it's not a personal attack on me, and it's not me looking for the hole to show what an idiot that you are, right? So I think there's an a priori reverence that is missing broader culture. But also the conversations aren't meant to serve truth, right? Talk about culture. It's not just a place of common living. I like Pope Benedict's expression of culture as the ecosystem, the environment where you flourish. So the culture in a petri dish for a virus is specifically in humidity and temperature so that culture can flourish. So that virus can flourish. So as a human person, as an organism, what is the environment, the ecosystem where we flourish and become all that we are? And that's where we speak about the virtues. We speak about community and communion and love and joy and all these things that are part of it. So we can have dialogue, and it's not really dialogue. It's more of saying, which side do you want?
Yeah, that's right.
Who are you with?
Yeah.
Who are your people? Yeah, well, I saw you with such and such, so you're one of them. Okay, well, this is how I talk to one of them, right? So it's a balkanization. It's a very...
Is this identity politics?
I think that's that's where it's expressed in an outsized influence of the politic, right? So politics is so outsized in its influence in our culture now, and has been that way for about 40 years, in my opinion. Oversized, whether it's a Supreme Court, whether it's a Congress, whether it's politics in general is now seen as the arbiter of justice and of flourishing and of happiness for the human person. That's not an overstatement, right? If the government would just do this, give this, work this, get out of this, stop taxing this, tax this more, illegal, make this. And I'm not making a libertarian argument here. I'm just saying libertarianism is on the grow precisely because of the outsized influence of the body politic. So in that combination of politics being oversized and the inability to even agree on what's true, much less reverence one another in a search for truth, we're fooling ourselves thinking that Twitter is going to be a place of exchange of ideas. It's weaponized. And my job is to take you down with my weapon.
So why are you on it? If it's
Peer
for the
pressure.
most part bad.
Peer pressure. And I'm really not. I mean, I get on, usually when I get on Twitter, it's because I'm procrastinating.
Totally,
or I'm supposed to be doing something and then something comes up and they bring me back. They keep sending me these, here's what you've missed on your notifications.
You were upset last time.
If you're not outraged, you haven't clicked on your, But I get on it and it's just exhausting. It's exhausting.
You should do what I did. You should pay someone to run it for you.
I am. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I just, I'm one of those poor micromanagers of like, well, you do this a little better than me. Do this like
my guy, Kenan Doyle, who does it all for me, I'm like, okay, you can quote from this person, and this person, like you can quote from the Bible, you can quote Pope Benedict, advertise my videos when they come out. But then I just
I love that.
Step back,
I love that. Because I mean there's a need to be in the marketplace, right?
But this isn't a marketplace.
I mean in terms of ministry, but I'm not conditioned to be able to do it well.
Right.
So I'm not the one to do it. But my message in my ministry is, I'm advocating for what you're saying.
No, and I'm trying to find a way to disagree with you because I'm always a little bummed when people talk about Twitter as a marketplace and St. Paul would be on Twitter. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe he would.
No, Titus would. So just kidding. Paul would be like, I can't take this anymore. Titus, you do it.
I wish they would cut themselves. I don't know. I just want to push back against that idea, even though I think it's ultimately right that Catholics ought to be on social media and ought to be tweeting and using it effectively. I think that is true. But just when I hear the cliches like St. Paul would be on Twitter, I'm like, I don't know. Like, can we really seriously question this for a bit? What do you have nothing better to do?
Well, it's one of those good hypotheticals, and I'm not advocating for it, but I mean, you hear about him talking about, at the Areopagus and his ability to engage even the most avid pagans of the time. And he would go for where the heat is. I think he would, but that doesn't mean I'm St. Paul.
Well, that's right. Yeah.
So there's another level there that just
That's
says,
true. You got to consider. Yeah.
let's
that's
find our
right.
St. Pauls and let's get them on Twitter.
Yeah. Like I think people like Bishop Robert Barron and others are using social
I am a
media
huge
pretty
fan
well.
of his, and
too.
I think his ability, and nobody's perfect, so it's not like but when he enters into a discussion, when he expands on something, I learn something all the time.
Yeah.
And to me, that's the edifying. I get built up from it. Is he the complete answer? Is he the way
That's
I would
right.
say it? Absolutely not. But at the same time, this man is a gift.
Did you see him on Dave Rubin's show a couple of times?
I did.
And
It took me a while to kind of get used to putting those worlds together, but I was like,
Well, when he answered like on homosexual marriage and things, I wasn't satisfied. I
was
don't think
not
he
at
did a good
all.
job.
But he wasn't talking to me. That's how I
well, that's
rationalized
true
it in my
too,
head.
you know.
He wasn't talking to me because I was like, "What about this? Do this. Tell me this." Because I do this all day long. This is what I do, and I know we're on the same page here.
Yeah.
But he didn't go there, and I'm not saying he's a master strategist, but I'm not going to fault him any more than I want people faulting me about what I did or didn't cover.
Yeah.
At a youth event versus a marriage event versus a clergy event. So
my point just though was like, okay, how would I do in that situation? So like, yeah, I get that you're criticizing him for this one thing he didn't say, and maybe you're right to criticize him because none of us are beyond criticism. But suppose I was in that chair, like, do you really think you would have nailed it, Matt Fradd? I don't think so.
You know what my come to Jesus moment was, and he's a friend now, Ryan Anderson. Anderson,
he's
right?
wonderful.
Oh my gosh, he was fantastic. When he was first coming up, and we've been on retreat together, and we've talked here or there. Not good friends, I wish we were, but he did the whose show was it?
Oh, I know who you mean. That bloody English bloke.
Yeah. That was the first
English bloke. Ben Shapiro talked about gun control on it. Who was he? Pierce Morgan.
Pierce Morgan, right?
Oh, that was amazing.
Amazing. And when I knew of him, but I didn't know
he kept cool under pressure during that.
Beyond pressure. Did you see the setup? They
were
literally
all
sat
looking at him.
They sat him with the audience.
Yes.
They put Susie Orman on the stage, pivoted across from Pierce Morgan as they're having.
I just think it's un-American. Well, that's terrific, you idiot. But give me an argument.
But I did the same thing you just said. I put myself in that after, I don't know, 15 years on the road with unbelievable circumstances.
You're an idiot.
No,
You
I would have been just, I don't know. But you look at that and you're like, you're where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
That's the gifting.
Oh, yes.
So you say, you know what?
So
I may not be
gifted.
Paul here, but we need some Ryan Andersons here over
baby,
here.
yeah.
We
He's
need some people.
amazing.
And when we can recognize that, isn't that the body of
Well,
Christ?
what did he say? What was one of the things he said? Because it was, for those who weren't aware of it, they were talking about legalizing same-sex marriage, so-called. And he was arguing for why not. And they were kind of just throwing a bunch of ad hominems at him. And then I loved that he played Obama against them. Well, I agree with Obama that there can be like intelligent people on both sides of this discussion. Because that's who your argument is with.
And what was beautiful was because he could have gone for the home run reason, because he's done all this in terms of his book, What is Marriage, with Sharif Girgis and Robbie George. He could have gone high in terms of the meat, but that was not the question they were asking. So what I thought was genius from a strategic view was they had gone so low in terms of, you must be a terrible person. You hate me. Why do you hate my wife? Why do you? I mean, Susie, she was like, why do you hate me? I mean, that was one of the questions I think was like, why do you hate me? And they had gone so low. All they had to do was an appeal to civil discussion.
Yeah. That's right.
If they had gone
He's
higher,
like, why do you have to attack my character?
Exactly.
You seem like a lovely person. I wouldn't attack you.
That's Pauline. That's a Pauline approach, right? You see all these beautiful statues here, and they see one here that says, to the unknown God. Let me tell you about this unknown God. You think he would have done that in Jerusalem? He would have been stoned if he appealed to a pagan God.
I hadn't thought of that.
Right? So there's something about not just knowing your audience, but something about
knowing
being
the environment
present. Being present.
Okay.
And yet being confident in the objective truths, but knowing what it takes to get somebody from this point to this point. Not to here, but to get them a little point to here. And just the appeal to civil discussion set everybody on their heels like, oh, wait a minute. So you're saying we just disagree. Yeah, and if you follow that, I'm going to take you all the way in, all the way up to the meaning of marriage.
That's what I was getting to say a moment ago, like this all or nothing thing. If Bishop Barron isn't the answer to everything, he's the answer to nothing. That's all or nothing. But then it's also, you need to fully convert somebody, all or you've done nothing.
It's never happened in the history of anything. No. How about I do my piece and then leave that to the mercy and the matrix of God, so his neighbor can say something else, his pastor will say something.
Or even to an evangelical friend, why can't I tell him, like, look, you can agree with me that Mary's the mother of God. It doesn't mean you have to think she was immaculately conceived. Okay, and you argue for it. Okay, yeah, I guess she's a mother of God. Great. And then you can further that discussion. But the idea that I have to have you buy everything or you can have nothing.
It's true.
It's how none of us work like that. Like when I became a Christian when I was 17, if you had have told me in order to become a Christian, I had to agree to same-sex marriage, I would have been like, I can't do that though, you know?
And I think you read and hear the major conversion stories, and if you really unpack them, you realize just how many people played a role in the full conversion.
Yeah.
The glory ones are the last ones, right? The last few
that's
people
right.
just before your
yeah.
baptism, and you're like, I want to thank this stuff for being
That's
with us.
right.
But the hundreds of just God moments that allowed you to be open just a little bit more to hear what somebody had said to you that a day earlier, you had never heard them. They would say the exact same thing. You'd have been like, mind your business.
That reminds me of Paul. I think it's Galatians or something, right? Like, does Barnabas does the planting, or I do the planting, he does the watering, but God gives the growth.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. So there's and we don't need to be privy to the full, but we do need to have a reverence that staying in our lane, using our phrases again, staying in our lane means I'm not the be all end all.
Yeah.
I'm not your full conversion. I don't need to be.
Yeah.
I don't have all the answers for you. But when push comes to shove, you're going to be like, you know what? This all started around Matt's barbecue.
Yeah.
So at least I can I don't know, I'm stuck on here and here, but I'm just going to go hang out.
Yeah.
Because I know how much he cares.
Yeah.
Yo, thanks for watching. You can watch the entire episode on YouTube if you want. You can listen to it at The Matt Fradd Show by subscribing on iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And feel free to support me, patreon.com/MattFradd.